Everybody knows the story by now. Apple is coming out in just a couple of days with the iPhone SE. The iPhone SE, which is basically an iPhone 8 with all the newest internals available. And we've seen this before. The SE has been around before, but this is the first time that Apple has taken a chipset from a current lineup and then put it into an older design and given us something that is bargain priced. $399 is what it's going to go for, and really, that's a big deal. Yeah. Why is it such a big deal? Well, I'm glad you asked. Apple's been railed upon for years and years and years for being too expensive and too this, too that, all that kind of stuff. But while everybody was complaining about the $1,000 price tags of the iPhones and that kind of thing, and rightly so, Apple has started to fill in the backside of their iPhone lineup to the point now where they offer pretty much a current spec iPhone for $400. And in this video, I'm giving you 3 reasons why the iPhone SE changes everything. So let's just, as they say, jump right in.
I'm your huckleberry.
The first reason that the iPhone SE matters a lot is what you get for the money. As I said, basically an iPhone 8 on the outside, but on the inside, it's got all of the internals of the current iPhones from the 11 all the way up to the 11 Pro Max. And to give you a sense of what kind of computing power you should be expecting from something like that, I have an iPhone 11. Actually, I'm using it for as my teleprompter right now, but last week, I actually used it to edit 4K 60 frames per second video, and it was faster than my MacBook Pro would have been doing that same job. The iPhone SE is going to have a lower resolution screen, a 720p, but it doesn't matter. Some people really like the older design of the iPhones before the iPhone 10. Some people really want a home button. They're comfortable with a home button. There are a lot of people out there who really need to have that home button. The screen is also square, and you might say, Jason, why is that a big deal? And I'll tell you, there's something about a square screen where you can look at everything and nothing's cut off. The screen designs of current phones have been really cool, but you do make some compromises in how you get to see the picture that you get to see when you have, waterfall bezels and all this other kind of stuff just sort of mucking around with the screen itself. Not only do you get the current spec internals where it matters, you also get 4 to 5 years of continuous iOS updates, and that really can't be understated. It's becoming more and more important every day that we not only have smartphones that have all the bells and whistles and do all the fancy things but that we have smartphones that we can hang on to or pass down to other people and know that they're going to continue to be updated and secure for quite a while. And iPhones have always been great for this. They always receive 4 to 5 years of the latest versions of iOS. Right now I'm using an iPhone 7 Plus from 2017 that I am doing a review on, and it still has the latest, greatest iOS 13 on it, and it'll keep getting iOS updates for at least 1 more year. So for the consumer who's trying to get the most out of their money, for the consumer that's been waiting for an iPhone that doesn't have the Face ID, that doesn't have the notch, or does have the Touch ID, or whatever, this is going to be an amazing phone. The 4.7-inch screen might not be for everyone. A lot of people in the past few years have gone up in size, and some people have been telling me, oh, I couldn't go back down. But I know a lot of people who also find that smaller screen size is perfect. And in addition to that, 720p on a smaller screen is going to look much, much crisper than you would think. Number 2, what does this mean for Apple? More iPhones in more pockets, and most importantly, more iPhones in the pockets that may not have had iPhones in them before and otherwise bought, say, a mid-tier Android phone instead of an iPhone. The iPhone SE may be recycling an older design, but when you compare what's inside to the other comparably priced phones on the Android side, the iPhone SE with its current chipset, it just destroys everything that doesn't have the flagship Qualcomm chip. Why can Apple put this chip inside of this cheap phone? And I think a lot of it has to do with economies of scale. Apple makes a lot of phones. They make their own chips, so they have more power over the means of production than other companies might have that have to rely on third-party companies. So they can put this more powerful chip into a less expensive phone, and voila! all of a sudden you have something that is a smartphone bargain that we've not seen before. Above and beyond the sales itself, Apple, of course, has gotten into the services game, just like a lot of other people. The services are really what's going to be driving the smartphone industry and the tech industry for quite a long time now. Apple has their Apple TV Plus and their News Plus and their all the pluses that they have, as well as Apple Music, and they're making money with all of that stuff. But don't forget, they're also getting a cut of just about everything that goes through the App Store. Apple gets a piece of that. So the more people going to the App Store, the more people they get money from. The iPhone SE is also going to be kind of a gateway device for other Apple products out there. And you might be saying, Jason, if folks have not been able to afford an iPhone before, and now they're getting the iPhone SE, how are they going to be able to afford MacBooks, etc., etc.? Well, I mean, there again is what I've been talking about in terms of Apple really filling in the bottom end of their line in terms of price. You can get a brand new 9.7-inch iPad these days for $329. On Amazon, I've seen that iPad on sale for $249 for a long, long time. Now, $249 for an iPad is a price that I never thought I would see, but yet you can get one for that price. Apple will sell more Apple TVs. Those aren't terribly expensive. The Apple TV is, for my money, probably one of the best streaming boxes out there. So Apple stands to get a lot more customers who are going to take a lot more advantage of a lot of the things that they offer. And that's not only going to be good for Apple, that's going to be good for the people who buy this phone. And I think this also means that Apple might get a little bit of a super cycle where they sell a ton of phones, because there are a lot of folks out there, whether they're older folks who don't like change or whatever, there are a lot of folks out there who have been resisting the newer model iPhones from the iPhone 10 on, with the Face ID and the no button and all that kind of stuff. There are people out there who've just been saying, I don't like that. I want my home button, so I shake my fist at the sky or whatever. Those people are going to buy these phones, and a lot of those people are on fixed incomes. A lot of those people will be able to get them on contract for basically nothing, and we've never seen an iPhone that was like the free phone that you could get on contract. Now, I realize in the United States, there's not contracts like there used to be, but in Canada and other places, there still is. Older folks who are waiting for new phones, they're gonna go out, they're gonna jump on this iPhone SE, and it'll be a long time before they have to worry about getting another phone again. They get to enjoy a brand new phone after they've been holding out for so long. So what does this mean for the rest of the smartphone industry? I'm really glad that you asked. I can only put it this way. This is bad news.
Adios, señor.
Samsung, OnePlus, they've put out really expensive phones this year for the S20 line and the OnePlus 8 line, and it seems like they got caught flat-footed with this economic downturn, and maybe they even got caught flat-footed in not recognizing that the market for $1,000 plus phones is a lot softer right now than it might seem. I think a lot of people are suffering from price fatigue when you look at how much phones cost and how much we're pressured to upgrade every year. I made a video last year and then another sort of follow-up video earlier this year. I'll link them. I think it's there. Yeah, there. I'll link them so that you can check them out. Basically saying that the smartphone boom is over. The smartphone wars have ended. In terms of operating system, it's come out in a stalemate. But in terms of phones and the prices for phones and paying premium prices for phones, there just isn't really a reason to do it anymore. And you can even make the argument that buying a previous year's flagship phone in the current year is always the better buy when you're not paying that initial sticker price. The long and short of it is, smartphones don't really improve enough from year to year anymore to make that kind of yearly cycle make sense. And that's been the case for several years now. Now we have a glut of smartphones in the market, whether used or still new, that are equally as good in terms of performance as the newest phones that are out there, but cost fractions of the price. And I think that people are starting to recognize that. I just did a video on whether or not the Note 9 was worth it in 2020. And yeah, I'm really pleasantly surprised at how well that Note 9 has worked for me. It's Amazon renewed, but it's brilliant. Not a scratch on it. It works. Anyway, watch the video. You'll hear what I'm talking about. The price that I paid, You'll just have to watch the video and find out. It's unbelievable. You know, there's an old saying that came out of the Great Depression: use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. That saying does not go with the conspicuous consumption model that we've had in the smartphone industry for all of these years. The smartphone industry has thrived on the idea that, you know, every year a new phone, not because you need one, but because you want one. The SE flies in the face of the conventional wisdom of the smartphone industry up to this point. For a long time, the cycle has been newer, faster, better, but that doesn't seem like it's going to matter all that much anymore. Yes, Apple was the first to get to $1,000, and I'm not trying to say that they weren't, but I think we also need to give them credit now for threading the needle on how can we put out a quality device with the latest specifications that can get below that $400 mark and be available and accessible to a lot more people. Apple doesn't release hard sales numbers anymore, but by the end of this year, there's no doubt in my mind that the iPhone SE will likely be the best-selling phone of the year. And it may, by the time its lifespan ends, have a shot at being the best-selling phone that Apple has ever released. It's important that we acknowledge that putting a smartphone of the quality that the iPhone SE is going to represent in the hands of people who could never afford an iPhone before does a lot for Apple, but it also does a lot for those people as well. Access to the internet and to all the connected technology that we have has pretty much become a utility like your water or your gas or your heat or anything like that. And now more people will be able to have better quality materials in their hands. Finally, the news has come out that the iPhone 12 is delayed. How delayed, we don't know. They're likely not going to start making iPhone 12s until September, from what I hear. And if that's the case, then it's possible we won't see an iPhone 12 in 2020. The iPhone SE could be the only phone that Apple releases this year. And even if that's the case, I think that they're gonna make money. I think they're gonna do incredibly well. It changes the customer that might be shopping for an Apple device to the point where if the iPhone 12 slips to 2020, Apple will still have a very good year. As backward as it might seem, the iPhone SE could be the most important phone Apple has ever released. Wouldn't that be ironic?
Minds are no place for a party.
Thanks for checking out the video. I really do appreciate it. I hope you come back and check out more. If you like videos about smartphones and other technology, then be sure to subscribe. Come back and see me again sometime. Hit that bell notification so that you know when I have a new video coming out. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.